We are going to discuss about ServiceNow architecture. Okay, what is meant by ServiceNow architecture, and we'll be discussing about what are tables and everything. Okay, so what is meant by ServiceNow architecture? So if you are going for a you know fresher, or if you are going with 2 to 3 years of experience in your resume, they might be asking you some questions which are related to the ServiceNow architecture. Okay, so what is meant by ServiceNow architecture? Whenever you log in into the ServiceNow application, you will be having, you should have roles, right, to access various applications in the ServiceNow, right? So, how this ServiceNow architecture is built? So, this ServiceNow architecture is a cloud-based multi-instance architecture. Okay. So each and everyone know what is meant by cloud. So whatever the work which we are going to do, we are going to perform only in the cloud. Okay. So what is meant by multi-instance? Okay. So whenever you log in into the ServiceNow account, you will be having one instance. Okay. When you log in into this PDI account, right? So each and every PDI account will be given a separate instance to practice. In the same way, if TCS is taking subscription for ServiceNow, so a separate instance will be provided for the entire TCS to work on it. Okay, so it doesn't collaborate, with some other else company. So whatever the space which has been provided to the TCS, it's dedicated only to that particular company. So if Dell is taking ServiceNow, okay, a separate instance will be provided. Okay, so whichever the company is taking subscription, okay, a separate dedicated server, a separate instance will be provided to the, a separate workspace will be provided to that particular company. Okay, so let's try to understand more, like okay, so here, let's say, so let's assume that this is a service now. Okay, service now instance. In the service now instance, okay, you will be having lot of applications. Let's say this is an incident application. Okay, incident application. Okay, so let's say we have one more application which is called problem, right? Problem. Okay, and we have one more application called change management, for example. What? Change management. Okay, and we do have one more application, you know like, and we do have tables in it, right? So let's say users. Yesterday we have created user tables, users, right? So whatever the information which you are going to store in service now, it will be stored in a table format. Okay, so users, the groups. So this is one table. Okay, and roles, we created roles, right? So it will be stored in the roles table. So if we consider this ServiceNow architecture, in ServiceNow architecture, whatever the information which we are storing, it will be stored in the form of tables. Okay. So we have the incident table, we have the problem table, we have the users table, we have the groups table, we have the roles table. Everything will be stored in the format of tables. Okay. So now ServiceNow tables. So in service now itself, we will be having like close to 6,000 tables. So in ServiceNow by default we will be getting close to 6,000 tables. These tables are provided by directly by the ServiceNow because these are pre-built applications which were developed by the ServiceNow. Once you get any subscription from them, or else if you log in into your PDI account, you will be defaultly getting close to some 6,000 tables. Okay, these were are also called out of the box tables. Okay, please do remember this. This is very important. Out of the box tables. So what is meant by out of the box tables? Whatever the information, whatever the applications, whatever the tables which were already created by the service now, those were called the out of the box tables. Okay, so those were the call whatever the information which we are getting from the service now, that is called the out of the box. Please do remember this. This is very important. So they may ask you like uh, which out of the box table you will be getting it, right? So you should be able to say understand what is meant by out of the box. So whatever the information that we are going to get from the service now without any customer, developer development, that is called out of the box. So here service now uses MySQL as a database. Okay, service now uses MySQL as the database. So here let's see now. Let's go to the instance and see. So sorry, incident. So if you click on incident, you will be getting this incident all, right? See, here are the list of incidents that we are having. We are having like close to 68 incidents in this particular instance. So each and everything will be stored in the form of table. Okay, so let's discuss few more things like what is meant by table. Table is nothing but a collection of rows and columns. Collection of rows and columns. Okay, collection of rows and columns. So whichever you are, whatever you are seeing, this is one row. Okay, this is the second row. This is the third row. This is the fourth row. Okay, this number, the header is there, right? This number, this is one column. The opened, this is one column. Okay, short description, this is one column. Okay, color is one column. So if you see here, we have some close to 68 rows like this, 68 incidents. So this is completely called a row. So this is completely called a row. Please don't get confused. People might confused like what is column and what is row. Row is nothing but a complete record of that particular instant. This is an unique number system ID which has been generated by the service now itself. So each and every row will be having a different number. Okay, in the incident table. So here in the column we have number one column, opened as one column, short description as one column, caller. So we have, let's count like how many columns are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So we have 11 columns in this table. Okay. And 68 rows in this table. So table is nothing but a combination of rows and columns. Okay, they will definitely ask you. It's a very basic question, right? So whatever the information which we are going to store in the service now, it will be stored in the format of tables, in the tables, in rows and columns. Okay, MySQL is the database which is used by the service now. Okay, so if we think like this is the entire instance, this is the entire instance, right? So in this incident is a table, problem is a table, change management is a table, user is a table. Let's check the user. Okay, go to users and see, click on it. So here if you check the users, you have 634 rows. Okay, you have 634 rows which were created by the ServiceNow. Most of them are provided by the ServiceNow. So whatever the information that has been provided by the ServiceNow, that is called out of the box. That is called out of the box. So here we are discussing about the tables, right? Right. So whatever the tables, so this user table, this is called entire users table, right? So whatever the table which has been provided by the service now, this is called out of the box table. Here in this users we have 634 records, 634 rows, okay, and columns 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 6 columns we have, right? So these are called rows and these are called columns, okay. So please don't get confused. So if you go into the groups, so let's see. So there are 48 groups, 48 rows, okay, 48 rows and columns 1 2 3 4 5 6. You have 6 columns for the groups table, okay. So these things can be changed, that's a different story. We can personalize it, okay. We can add what are the number of columns, everything here, okay. For now what we can see, we have like 5 columns here and 48 rows. Please try to understand this. I believe everyone understood what is meant by table. Table is nothing but collection of rows and columns. It maintains the record. So in service now, it will be use MySQL is the database which is used by the service now. Okay. So here you might be asking a question like, sir, do we need to learn MySQL again? No, it's not required. We will not be writing directly MySQL queries in service now. We will be interacting using the APIs. Okay, there are few APIs, like we'll be discussing more about these APIs in the coming sections. So it's not required. If you know some basics of SQL, that's well and good. Even though if you don't know that, even that is fine. It's not required for it. It's not mandatory. Okay, we mainly use the database MySQL to perform the CRUD operations like create, remove, delete, update. All these things can be performed, right? So these were the tables. Okay, so let's see, let's try to create a record in incident. Okay, let's try to create a record in incident. So if you click on create new, you will be getting a form. Okay, this is called form, and whatever the fields which we have, these are called fields. So if you see, we can pretty much customize each and everything. In the next class we will be discussing how to design the form and everything. So for now please try to understand. So this is the form we already discussed, right? We form is nothing but where we give some sort of information and it helps us to store in the ServiceNow database in the form of tables, right? So here we are going to create a new incident record. Okay, so this is a number. This is a unique number which has been generated by the ServiceNow itself. Okay, so we'll be discussing in the next session like how this number is going to get generated. Okay, for now let's try to fill the basic information and create a incident record. Okay, so let's see, like for now let's say like incidents are there, right? How many incidents are there? 68 incident records are there. Now we'll create one. So caller, select one. Caller is nothing but who is creating the incident. We'll be discussing a separate topic on incident, what is meant by incident and incident life cycle, state model. This is called state model. Everything will be discussed. Okay. So for now, caller is nothing but the person who is creating the incident. Okay. So short description, like what is meant by incident? Incident is sudden interruption of any service, right? So an employee. Okay. So let's keep a proper employee here. So let's go and give Jamie. Okay, so Jamie is creating this incident. So he is facing the problem which are related to network issues. So he is unable to connect his laptop to the server. So he's facing some network issue. So he selects the category network. Okay, and submit. So please do remember this number 10012. Okay, 10012. So click on submit. Okay, it has been submitted, right? So if you click on all now, earlier there were 68 records. Now we have created one. If you see, a new record has been created 10012. So where this is stored? This is stored in the table, in the incident table. So this incident table has been given to us by the ServiceNow itself. So this is called the out of the box table. So this is called row. These are the columns. Okay. So if we create any information, any data, that will be stored in the format of tables. Okay. In the rows and columns. Okay. So we create tables generally to store the data. Okay. So this is how we create the tables. So if you are creating a new table in ServiceNow, okay, let's go to the table. Okay. So go to system definition and click on tables. So these are all the tables. 5742 tables were already there in the ServiceNow instance, right? So if we are going to create a new table, these are the tables which were given by the ServiceNow itself. So these are called out of the box tables. So now I want to create a table which is related for the networking issues. Okay, where it should keep all the network issues records. So network issues, right? So if you click somewhere else here, so by default you will be getting the name. By default you will be getting the name as u underscore. Please do remember, label is different. Okay, label is different and name is different. So name is generally used by the ServiceNow developers. Okay, name is generally used by the ServiceNow developers. Label is used by the employees. Okay, suppose let's say if you are a ServiceNow developer, you will be using name to understand. You will be using name to understand while you are developing something, any field, any table. Okay, these thing cannot be seen by the employees. So this u underscore will not be seen by the employees, right? So the employees will be seeing network issues. That's it. Okay, so please do remember. And one more thing, guys, like whichever the tables that any developer, any service now developer is developing, creating, those tables were starting with u underscore. So if you see this name as u underscore, you should come to know like someone has developed this particular table in your company, in your organization. A service now developer has developed this. Okay, you are not getting this table directly from the service now. This is not a out of the box table. So if some developer develops this table, then it starts with the u underscore. You cannot remove it. So if you give it a try, it won't accept. Again it comes. See, so just try to remove this. Okay, and click somewhere side. So again it comes u underscore. Okay, so whichever the tables that you guys are going to create, those tables starts with u underscore. Okay, so here let's write if any developer creates the table, it starts with u underscore. So this is very important. So if you see, if you come across any u underscore table, you should automatically understand like, okay, this table has been created someone in our team. Okay, this table has been created by someone in the team. So what is here name? Name is nothing but you are not, the employees will be seeing the name used for 1 second, guys. Sorry. So name is something which is used by the ServiceNow developers. Used by the now developers. Okay. See, this is the name. This is the name. So if it is coming, you can see, if you are a developer, you can see like it starts with u underscore. If you are an employee in an organization who is creating some network issue tickets, an incident, okay, they can only see this network issues label. So label is different, name is different. Names are mainly used by the ServiceNow developers. Okay, labels are used by the employees. Please do remember this. This is important. They cannot see it. They will be seen only in the backend. Okay, used only by the employees. Okay, now as soon as you create a table, you know, as soon as you create a table, so network issues is the table which we are going to create it, right? So click on submit. Okay, now go and search for network issues here. Network issues. So this is the table which we have created, right? So as soon as we create any table, by default, 6 fields will be created automatically. Okay, 6 fields. 6 fields will be created. So if you can see here, if you can see here, 6 fields will be created. So what are those 6 fields? This is very important interview question. So please try to understand. If you create any table, if we create any table, 6 fields will be created automatically. So what are they? So what are the fields? So you know what is meant by field, right? In ServiceNow, you know what is meant by field in a form, right? So what are these fields that are created? Created by, created, sysID, okay? Updates, updated by, updated. So this is very important. So whenever we will be coming across all these things, right? So they might ask you like, hey, have you got a chance to create any table? They say yes. Okay. So when you say yes, automatically the second question is like, what are the fields that has been automatically created when you create a table? So these things will be created automatically, right? So what are these? Created, updated by, updates, sysID, updated, created by. Okay. So created when it has been created, the date and time will be automatically stored. So whatever the changes that you are going to do in this service now, a particular history will be tracked. Everything will be tracked in service now. Whatever the minute changes that you are going to do, you know, those changes will be completely tracked. Okay. So created, when it has been created, it will be automatically tracked. Updated by, okay, so if someone updates this particular form, particular table, so these things will be tracked. What are the updates? If there are any updates that you are getting in that particular form, those will be tracked. System ID. So this system ID will be unique for each and every form, right? So it will be automatically generated by the service now. Okay, updated. So when it has been lastly updated, okay, this one. This is the field created by. Then this is like who created it? Who created it? All these six fields will be automatically created by ServiceNow itself whenever you create a ServiceNow table. Okay, table in the ServiceNow. So how do we check the tables? Go to system definition and go to tables. So here we will be getting the tables. Okay. Now just click on this show form. So if you see, you can see nothing here because we did not add any fields into this form, right? So we'll be discussing tomorrow how to edit this form, how to get these fields, these six fields visible in that form, everything. Okay. So this is nothing but a table. In this table, this is a record, this is a row, this is a field. Okay, this is column. All these are columns. So please try to understand for these things. Okay. So now if you see the list, it's a new table. So no list will be there, right? So go back, click on tables and click on network issue. So click on it, click on show form. So if you see here, there is this called -1 in the URL. System ID is -1. So by seeing this, you should understand this is a new form. Okay, this is a new form. If you get -1, you should understand that this is a new form. So if it is an old form, you will be getting some ID, right? A system ID will be generated. We'll be discussing, like we'll be showing it to you guys. You know. So for now, please try to understand. If you see this -1 anywhere, okay. If you see -1 in the URL, sys ID as -1 in the URL. Okay. So please try to understand it is a new form. It is a new form. So this is about it, guys. So like what is meant by ServiceNow architecture and tables? So ServiceNow architecture is nothing but a cloud-based multi-instance architecture. It's a multi-tenant as well. Okay, so it's not limited to one or two companies. So it has lot of tenants using their application, right? So you can even add like multi-tenant as well here. Multi, okay. So multi-tenant as well. So If you take this service now instance, everything will be stored in the form of tables. Whatever the information you are storing, it stores in the form of tables. Tables are nothing but rows and columns. Tables are nothing but rows and columns. So in ServiceNow, MySQL is the database which is used by the ServiceNow. Okay. And whatever the tables which we are getting from the ServiceNow, it is called out of the box tables. These are called out of the box tables. Okay. And if a developer in your team or if you are creating any table, that is called, that starts with u underscore. Okay, so name is different, labels are different. Okay, names are used only by the developers, so they, it's a backend thing, so it is not visible for the employees. Okay, labels are used by the employees. We'll be discussing like more, okay, about this. So if you create any table, any incident table, these are the tables which were given by the service now by default. Okay, so if you are creating any new table, automatically six fields will be created. So what are those fields? Created by, created, sysID, updates, updated by, and updated. So these are the things. Okay. So if you see somewhere, you know, this -1 in the form, sysID is -1, then you should automatically know like, okay, this is a very new form. Okay, so this is it, guys, for today's class. Hope you understand it. Tomorrow we will be discussing more about what is meant by how to create the, sorry, how to create the forms, how to customize the forms, how to create more tables. We'll be discussing more about the tables tomorrow also. Okay, so for now, what would be the possible interview questions, okay, in this class? So what is service now architecture? Okay, what are the different fields created by the service now when a table is created? Okay, so you should know. Okay, so which database service now uses? Okay, so and what is meant by out of the box? What is meant by out of the box tables? Okay, and we have also seen like how to create the table. How to create the table. Okay, so going to the system definition and create the tables, right? So this is it, guys. So today's task is I request each and everyone to create like five tables, five different tables, and try to check like add, sorry, five, create five tables and add records into it. Add records, it might be anything, like you create a network issue table, you can create employees table in your organization, anything. If I create five different tables, add 10 records for the each table and check like okay, is this record coming up once it has been submitted or saved? Okay, and try to learn all these things, what are, and try to observe like what fields has been created by the service now itself. Okay, so this is a small topic, very small topic. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be going in depth about the tables and the creation of forms and everything. So I believe everyone understood this, right? So that's it for today, guys. We'll be connecting tomorrow and we'll be discussing more about the tables and form views. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thanks for connecting.